over them, I'm gonna respond to them personally. Okay, so let me just go back real quick. For everybody that onboarded between yesterday, Sunday, Saturday, Monday, and even today, if you started today, just please give me just a little time, because I have to can't nobody else send it to you. I have to do it because I screen everybody. So please make sure if you're signing a contract, you did everything. Just give me like 48 hours. It usually takes onboarding 3 days. That's the total process. So just make sure that once you sign your contract, you're good to go. And just that 72-hour mark, start then. So you're not missing anything. You got the class, everything, everybody's on. But as far as like the portal and doing your coaching and stuff, that's the process. Okay, so just give me some time, because I'm the only person that can do that part. But you're good to go. If you're on the class, you're good to go, and you'll get your software login within 3 days. All right, so let's get started now. Of course, welcome. That's the first thing. I'm gonna like to give a full introduction, because I do have a lot of new faces here. The e-course, I'll show you how to get access to your e-course, because this is definitely a class. You're gonna get 16 CE. And if you guys don't know what CE is, that is continuing education credits. It's gonna be tied to your P10, so you will be able to log on and see it. And in order to do that, you just have to pass the class with an 80% or above. And that's for participation as well as the quizzes. The quizzes are very short. They're like 5 to 6 questions, or no more than like 10 questions for every quiz, and there are 10 of them. So if you do that, and it's super simple, y'all, it's nothing too hard or strenuous. It's just, for you to be able to, we have to monitor and track your participation as well as your attendance. So as long as you attend or go on there and do the quiz for the replay for each of the different modules, and that's the way it's set up through modules. So as long as you do at least 80% of it, you'll get your CE, your full CE, okay? And that's gonna be tied to your P10. Now, let me see. So let's go through the slides. So we'll go over the schedule, and then we'll go through the first 3 chapters. Now, for anybody that does not know me, my name is Raven. I have been in the industry for 10 years, at least like 11, but who's counting? Been in the industry for at least 10 years, and I'm from Greenville, Mississippi. I have 5 children, and this is my 3rd, going on my 4th season as a service bureau or tax coach. Okay, so I have been doing this side of things. This is going on my 4th year. All right, so I've been doing this for a while. I've been through a lot of the ups and downs. So a lot of y'all that's just now meeting me or just now knowing me, I have really, can y'all see me? Can y'all hear me? Because it just gave me a notification my internet is shaky. Is it going in and out? I want to make sure it's good. So yes, the CE is, okay. So the CE is offered to anybody that's taking it. So if you're on here, dang, it's raining, it's lightning outside real bad. I'm sorry, y'all. I may need to hop in on my phone. So if it start going out again, let me know, and I'm gonna just log in on my phone with the voice part. So yeah, so anybody that's on here now, you're good for the CE. So when you go to the e-course, you will see a spot for you to do at the end of it, you will see where it's gonna give you the option to give me your P10. So it's at the end, after you get through with each of the class. So this class is rigorous. It's going to be 1 week long. And after this 1 week, we're going to do a commencement on December the 31st. Yeah, that's why when you guys, most of y'all came in with the Black Friday special, and you only had to pay $15. So you got the course, and you also, it said 2 shipping instances. So you got your first tracking number through for the textbook. And I do still have like 30 of them to get out. So if you do not get them, if you do not have them, I have more textbooks that's going out today. And I actually paid extra for the expedited, so you guys can get it. The e-course, the ebook is also going to be in your e-course. So you'll be able to download it. That way you can, go on there. But everybody will receive a hard copy. And You'll also get another shipping instance on next week. And it's actually, I'm very extra. So it's a cap, and it's a t-shirt. So that's why when you get through, so everybody that finishes the class, you'll get that. So if you pass with 80% or above, you'll get that. Okay. So I really want to reward the people that put in the work, and I'm gonna put on a whole commencement ceremony. So you can give the links to your family, your friends, and you are more than welcome to and in your box, you're gonna get a shot. So it's either gonna be clear or brown. I don't know, but we're gonna take a shot for the season. Okay. I'm very extra. I like to pour into my people so that y'all can feel motivated and y'all can be ready to go for the season. All right. So let's get into it. And you don't have to be a partner to, get that. That is just a token for anybody anybody that took the class. So this is the e-course. This is where this class will be kind of hybrid. That's what they call it. So I will lead you every night for the class, and then you'll go on there and do your quizzes, and there may be 1 or 2 practice returns on there. It just depends on the content that we go over. So whatever practice return will be on there will be whatever we went over in class. So you don't have one today, but on tomorrow, when we start talking about the different types of income, you'll be able to go on there and start actually doing your practice return. So for the people that use my software, I highly recommend that you use the same type of when you log into the software, instead of you creating a different return for each of the practice, just use the same return and just change the information so you won't flood the software with all of your practice returns. Okay. Now, the e-course, this is where you will go on and log in. So if you're new, and I'm about to drop it in the chat as well so that you won't have to type it in. I don't know why I was trying to DM. Okay, here we go. So this is the link. If you have a Canvas class, now for all of my partners, you guys have Canvas. You should have Canvas. That's where we put all the replays and stuff like that. If you have ever took a class from me, you see TURE.com/register. So if you have ever took a class from me, I most of the time use Canvas. That's what I use because hey, it's free, and that's one less thing that I have to pay for, or that you guys have to pay for as well. Now if you're new, go ahead and register and use the following join code as you can see on the screen. And if you already have a Canvas account, just go ahead and follow this link, and it'll add it directly to your platform. So I'm about to put it on there now. You see TURE.com. So that's the link that you will select if you already have Canvas account. Now that is, if you have any like technical difficulties or you having problems logging in, just let me know towards the end of the class and I can walk y'all through it when we get at the end. All right. So that's the e-course. That's where you go in and do your assignments. Now here's the schedule. So all of the times are in Central Standard Time. Okay. So we have the 13th, which is today, the 14th, the 15th, the 16th, and the 19th. Okay. The 19th should be a Saturday, but those are the days that we have, and all of the times are in Central Standard Time. And the last class is basically for any type of replays or anything that you need me to go over, and we'll go over a couple of like full examples. So if you don't really need that last day, or if you feel like it's good, you're good to go, and you honestly don't have to attend the last day. But that day is for anything that we may have missed, anything that was put off for the last day, and then we'll go over some specific scenarios within the software. Now we also have some bonus days as well. For partners, this was already on you guys' schedule, but we have some advanced situations like schedules A and all of that. So anybody that purchased during Black Friday or client during Black Friday, you guys can attend it as well. But we got like a couple of advanced sessions going on that next week. So once we get through this, I'll post those. I didn't want to bombard y'all with the schedule. All right. So these classes right here, the ones from the 13th through the 16th, those are the ones that count towards your CE. All right. So that's what's counted. The 19 is not counted. So once you get through with the 16, you're technically done with the class. But if you want to attend on the 19th, that's completely fine. So let's get started. We're going with the chapter 1. We're going to understand the taxes in America. So I'll start from the basics. Okay. I don't just start with the 1040. We start back to why we even have this system in place anyway. So that's what we're going to be going over, and you will have a better knowledge and understanding of what taxes are, what withholding is, and all of that once we get through with this first chapter. So the first chapter, this was another screen. Okay, so the tax professional will understand how the federal tax system works in the United States and have a better knowledge of the income tax as well as withholding. Okay, so what are taxes? Taxes are basically payments that's collected by the government on the federal level, the state level, and the local level. Now, fun fact, not all states have state taxes. Okay, Texas is one for individuals, income tax. They don't have state taxes. Okay, so there are 8 states in total that do not have state taxes, but for the most part, all the rest of them do. You're gonna get taxed on the federal level, you're gonna get taxed on the state level and the local level. Okay, it's taken from several different places and can be taken from individuals and businesses. Pretty much any money that anybody makes is going to get taxed, pretty much. And we'll go through all of the different types in just a second. So how do taxes even work? So taxes are taken from individuals and businesses, and the money that's taken from taxes is used to fund government operations as well as public service programs. So when people be like, I pay my taxes, I deserve to be here, or I pay my taxes, this is where my tax money going, that's what they mean, because all the money that we pay in taxes is used to fund food stamps, what else? Any type of public service programs. So that's where our tax money is going, and that's why, of course, we have you can attend and watch the replay if you can't attend live. So with the taxes, like I said, this is something that the United States has one of the most complicated tax codes in the world. Like, we make stuff so difficult, and the IRS, of course, I don't know if you guys know this, but the IRS is an independent agency. So this is not necessarily a government agency. It's an independent agency that the government has hired to understand, interpret, and enforce the tax laws. Okay, so the IRS is really the central point of taxes. This is where, we pay the taxes to. That's who let us know how much taxes we're supposed to withhold based on what the information that we give them. And the IRS is who we file the tax returns to. Okay, so they are basically the government's hitman when it comes down to getting taxes and taking people money and all of that. Okay, so what's tax? So you have all of these different situations and all of these different like personal business income. You got payroll. All of these things are taxed, literally. So there are several different things that get taxed. So for example, if a person pays payroll, they have to pay payroll tax. Anybody that has a job, most of the time they're going to be paying Social Security and Medicare tax if they're an employee. Corporations, they get corporate tax. You got tariffs on imports, gift, estate, and unemployment taxes. And there's also a collection of miscellaneous taxes that are imposed by the local, state, and the federal government. And those are composed of other taxes. So all of those little taxes that they tax on, that's considered to be those other taxes. But the government gonna get theirs in a nutshell. They go whatever type of avenue you feel like you want to get some money for, or you feel like you want to go make some money or invest in, they're gonna get taxes on that. Now, who's taxed? So of course you get taxes on wages and investments. Any money that you make as a person or as a business, you get taxed on it. Any type of money you invest in, they're gonna tax you. Now, of course, y'all know with cryptocurrency, that is something very new, relatively new. And previously, they didn't really do too much taxes on it. But now the government is gonna get theirs. I don't know if anybody on here, I don't know if you guys have started to invest into cryptocurrency or anything, But cryptocurrency is something that makes a lot of money now. I don't know if any of y'all are familiar with that, but it's people out here literally making a whole lot of money with that, by Bitcoin, all these other different things. So you can just imagine the government want that money. I actually invested into, I don't necessarily trade, but it's a company that trades for you. And every week you do like a 2 to 4% return on your initial investment. So you can just imagine how much money. It's people out here right now, they get literally every week 4 to 5 figures. Some get 6 depending on how much they invest. And the government's like, hey, I need that money. I need to be able to get some of those cryptocurrency and all these Bitcoins. So the government is now trying to control that as well. Now, of course, small businesses and self-employed, you get taxed. Larger businesses get taxed, and even some tax-exempt and governmental entities will get taxed at some point. Okay, so those are the different type of entities. They break it down into 4 categories. Now, the income tax is what we're going to be focused on mostly in this class. Okay, this is where the income tax is what makes up the 1040. All right. So there are 2 types of income in which that is taxed. You have earned income and you have unearned income. So this is where things start to, you have to distinguish and know what you're dealing with, what you're looking at, and what type of situations that you'll be dealing with your clients, so that you can advise them on what's the best option to take. And this is where the term tax planning comes in at, and that's a little bit more complex. But as you start to doing taxes more and understanding what the withholding is and all of these different terms, what that means, you'll be able to advise your clients like, listen, look, you are in another tax bracket. This is what you need to do in order to be able to not have to get a big bill at the end of the year or at the beginning of the year, okay? So this is where, by default, we turn into tax planners. Now, earned income is anything that you do or any income that is received from working. That's going to be your wages, salaries, tips, and any other employee pay, bonuses, all of that stuff. Yes, it is taxed. Earnings from employment, which is your net earnings, not the gross. So the money after the expenses is your net earnings. That is what's taxed as earned income. Gross income as a statutory employee, union strike benefits, and long-term disability benefits are all earned income. So these are the type of income that qualifies for your earned income credit. Now, unearned income is any amount that's received indirectly or not from work. Excuse me. So we have interest and dividends, pensions, alimony, child support, welfare, unemployment, income while an inmate. Golly, that auto text really messed that up right there. But income while you are an inmate, and Social Security and railroad retirement benefits, including disability. All of those are unearned income. In all of these situations, every last one of these different types of income will have some sort of form or some type of line on the actual tax return, okay? So even if, you know, some of the most common is gonna be your wages, which will be from your Form W-2, your self-employment, which will be from 1099Ks, 1099 NECs, and in some cases 1099 MISC. And on your unearned income, that'll be your 1099G for your unemployment. So these are like some of the most common situations that you'll be dealing with, especially as a beginner. But as your clientele increases, as your knowledge increases, and as you spend more time in the industry, you can break off and start dealing with some of these more advanced topics, because once you start dealing with interest, dividends, annuities, even cryptocurrency, this not on here, but even cryptocurrency is something that's a little bit more advanced, and it requires more forms, more schedules, and more attachments to be added to the tax return. So that's a little bit more complex, but we do have several advanced topics, and that's what we'll be going over on the next week class. Okay, so all good. I'm glad you got in. You was having a problem? I'm so sorry, because usually I tried to wait around for a little minute to see if anybody would be texting or on the chat, but unfortunately, once I get started, I just can't stop. So withholding is a system of taxation in which the federal government takes out a portion of an individual's income as a tax. So everybody that is going to be doing taxes, at the very least, you need to understand how this Form W-4 works, okay? So because this is what's going to help your clients for the next year tax return, all right? So there inside of your e-course, there is a calculator in there. It's directly from the IRS website, but it's a calculator that kind of shows you and guides you on what you need to be withholding, or what you can advise your client on what they need to withhold, okay? Because you don't want to give nobody the wrong information. Man, I can remember when I first started doing taxes, and my idea of withholding was completely wrong. I had learned that from my grandmama. And she was telling me, you know, you need to go exempt. You need to get all your money, go exempt. So that's what I was telling my clients, like, you don't want to give the government no interest loan and all this stuff. I learned that from my grandmama. RIP to my grandmama, but that was definitely not the right decision that I should have told my clients, okay? Because once they got hit with that big bill at the end of the year because they didn't have nothing in box 2, and they was looking like, where's my refund? Or what happened to my taxes? Yeah, they blame me for that. I quit that real quick. So the taxes are taken from each paycheck throughout the year. And even as a self-employed person, you can still withhold. So anybody that is like everybody on here, all of us are really small business owners, you know, as preparers. If you own your own tax business, you're not an employee of a company. Even as a partner, you're gonna get a 1099 for the ones that don't have their own EFIN. So if you don't want to get hit with a big tax bill for all this money y'all gonna make, definitely start withholding and making some sort of estimated payments. All right, because what's gonna happen is you're not gonna get hit with a big bill at the beginning of the year because y'all gonna make so much money. Oh my God. So you don't want to get hit with a big tax bill. So you can kind of go on there and start learning the process of withholding and learning like what's the stipulations on it, what it means. And it's also another module in the e-course as well that kind of touches on it a little bit more. But withholding, they actually have a brand new W-4 that's out. So definitely take a look at that. All right. Now, the purpose of withholding is to make sure that no one is tackled with a huge bill at the beginning of the year. And also, the government has enough cash flow to keep going. With so many people going exempt, of course, yeah, it might be an interest-free loan that we're giving the government, but this is how the government keeps flowing. This is how we are able to fund unemployment, food stamps, all these different services. So if everybody's going exempt or nobody's paying into the estimated taxes, then there's no cash flow. This is why we see a lot of inflation. This is why it's not one of the biggest reasons, but it definitely attributes to the reason why milk is $6 and the carton of eggs is almost $10 in Texas for a big carton of eggs. So you have to make sure that we're informing our clients and not, telling them to go exempt and stuff like that, because it kind of disrupts the whole system. And I see that now. So that withholding is done on the Form W-4. That is where anybody that gets a job, that is where they have to fill it out when they get ready to start their job. And they can also fill it out at any given time of the year. So whenever they're ready, and they need to change it when their life situation change, when their dependents change. If they go from being single to married or married to single, they can change that W-4 and get the right amount of withholding. Now, why should everybody file a return? So number one, it is required by law, and not doing so can pose many penalties, which will be explained in the upcoming parts of this course. So there are several different penalties that can come about by a person not filing their taxes. It's a lot of people that kind of, I don't know if they live under a rock. I don't know which way they be going with themselves, but a lot of people just don't file taxes, or they'll wait because they know they are owed. Chances are, like, they know they're gonna owe, they know they went exempt, or they know they make too much money, don't have a dependent, all these different situations. So they don't file, or they'll wait all the way until the end, until like that 3-year mark, and then they'll try to come file 3 years worth of returns. I got clients like that, and I used to take them, but now I turn them away because I really don't even like to deal with that no more. But definitely, if you have a situation where you got people that's coming in and they have years worth of returns, definitely, if you're gonna take them in, get your money's worth for it. Like, make sure you're charging them, because this is a lot. Doing 3 years worth of returns at one time, that is a lot on one person. And they're not saying that you shouldn't do it, but definitely charge for that. You know what I'm saying? Because that's not nothing that they supposed to be doing anyway. Now, a refund due to a taxpayer will not be paid unless a return is filed. So one thing about it I can teach y'all and let y'all know right now is that we cannot assume that even some of the simple things that we know, or some of the things that we think that everybody should know, we cannot assume that everybody does know it, okay? So what I mean by that is that, of course, everybody should know that you have to file a tax return in order to get your tax refund if you have one due. Not everybody knows that. Some people do not even know nothing about filing taxes or anything. So we cannot assume that everybody that comes through there, or every follower we have, or every person that inquires about our services know these types of things. And this is why, and not to get into, off topic, but this is why some of the best and most successful, I'm not gonna say best, but some of the most successful tax preparers are the ones that educate. Because a lot of people will file with you just because they're learning from you every day. Now, some people will get on social media and say, I'm not going to give out nothing for free. I'm not about to teach you nothing unless you pay me. Okay? Now, which I understand, get your coin, but sometimes this basic information that some people should know, or that we assume everybody should know, getting on there and saying those things will actually, it's going to hit somebody. Somebody might not know. And just by you knowing what you're talking about and going on there, even if it's the simple tax tips, that could very well be the reason why somebody filed with you over going to, let's say, TurboTax, or going to another professional, because you educate them. And education, all of this stuff is anything that's not like selling, like saying, hey, come file with me. That makes the best content anyway, where people are being marketed to, but they don't even know that they're being marketed to. You are educating them. You are giving them that content, all right? Now, in order to receive most assistance, such as student aid or anything, you have to file a tax return. So that is another thing that a lot of people end up, my sister went through the same thing, it was like my mama, she's very kind of ticky when it comes down to file her taxes before. Like, I really stressed the issue on her now. Like, no, man, we finna take care of this. You're not gonna linger with these taxes, okay? So when it was time for my sister to go to school, she couldn't, because of course she was a dependent student. So my mom's income has to be on her tax, had to be on the FAFSA. So a lot of people, don't know that it's certain things like buying houses and all of this that can be disrupted if you don't file taxes. So having these are very important reasons why a return should be filed. And if they're making money, if they're really making money, and because everybody's not broke, everybody's not in poverty. It's people out here that's really making money, and they definitely need to be filing taxes, because tax evasion is real, and those penalties and interest are real too. But this is the plus side with by everybody having to file a tax return, because as a tax preparer, that means that you have a very good chance of getting good clients, or just getting clients, period. You have a chance, because everybody in America should be filing a tax return. If pretty much everybody, I say about 9 out of 10 taxpayers should be filing a tax return. So that means that it's millions of people that you can reach. And that means that it's always going to be some room out there for you in this tax world, okay? So there's some room for you to be successful. Even if you see somebody filing hundreds of returns, it's still some money out there for you to make, okay? So do not get discouraged. We just got to be a little bit more creative and a little bit more aggressive with our marketing, okay? Because if they don't know that you're doing taxes, then you can't, if the person don't know that you're here or know that you're doing taxes, you're not gonna get no clients, right? So you just have to be creative in your marketing and let them know. And what's the best way to let them know? By educating them. Get on there and do what you gotta do, giving out their tax tips, even if you gotta go live, whatever it is that you gotta do. And we're actually gonna be doing a marketing segment on, what's today, Tuesday, on Thursday. That's our day for marketing. So that'll be at 5 o'clock. Please tune in if you want some good marketing tips, okay? Now, let me see, the Big Boo is my best friend. What's that? I never heard of it. I never heard of it.
So I'm naturally, I'm an introvert extrovert. So I know how to like deal with people, the public, but it's not really something that I enjoy doing. But so I don't do live. I've never been live because I'm just terrified of it. But Big View allows you to type your content and record, and you can just read the content that you've typed in. So it's getting me out of my shell because I can read and do a video with like my logo on a shirt. And I do something called Talk About It Tuesday, where I do tax tips every Tuesday. So instead of me going live, I just post the video and I'm not like rambling, I'm not nervous, I'm just reading, but it's natural. Like the more I've done it, the more natural my videos look.
Oh my God, I didn't. So it's like a teleprompter type thing.
Yes, and you can do it from your phone or your laptop.
Oh my God. Oh, I
Yeah,
can kiss you through this phone. For real.
and it's
I've been,
cheap.
I've
And
been looking for something like that.
it's real affordable. And when I say I love it, like I've fallen in love with it. I'm like sitting on the couch watching TV. I'm like, oh, let me get my stuff together for Talk About It Tuesday. And I type it up and then I just throw my shirt on. The day I had my Christmas tree in the background and I'm just reading. And it's like I'm just talking to one of my girlfriends. It's
Oh my
y'all
God.
do it. I love it. I have fallen in love with it.
Oh my God, I did not know that. So she says that, thank you for that. Does the
You're
audience
welcome.
download the app or?
No, so you can download it, and when you download it, it'll just download in your camera roll when you do it from off the app or the laptop, however you want to do it. But I use my laptop to record, but I have the app on my phone. So I download it and I upload it to like different groups, my page, my business page, Instagram and stuff like that. And you can have it look professional. So like the title of my tip is on there, my name is underneath. I have my logo like in the corner somewhere. And then at the end of my video, it has all of my business information. So my email address, business name, website, phone number, address, all of that. So it's like well put together too.
I love that so much. I like that. I like that. I'm gonna try it. As soon as I get off here, I got my set it off right back, but I'm definitely about to try it. Like
Yeah, let me know how you like it, because I've fallen in love with it.
Okay. They asked for your ad handle so we can look at it and see. What's your page?
Go Facebook at Steady Refunds. So I'll just put
Steady Refunds.
Yeah.
We about to follow you.
I appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am. Dang, I was just trying to log on here. Let me see. Steady Refunds. Okay, I found you. Oh, I see it. Dang, hold on. I'm finna show it to y'all. Hold on. Do you mind me putting it on here? Do you mind me putting it on the screen?
No, I don't. Yeah, you
Okay.
can.
I'm sorry, y'all. We done got off track just a little bit.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. Cause look, I'm pretty sure that let me see. Don't y'all be telling nobody what's in my doggone search bar now. I don't got nothing to hide. Y'all see what's in it. Study refunds. Okay, that's you right here, right? There it is. There it is, y'all. That is beautiful. I like that. I really, really do. And so like it's like a teleprompter. So when you're looking at the screen, you see words, right?
Right. So it's a camera where like a little small camera where you can look at yourself, and then it's the words coming down, and you can control the speed of the words. So if you want to talk fast, you can talk fast. If you want to talk slow, you can have it to where it's comfortable for you so you can keep up with it and you won't be sounding crazy talking too fast or talking too slow. So I do maybe about 3 or 4 takes until I find like, okay, this one looks okay. And I'll fix it up and then post it.
I love that. Thank you. Thank you for that tip. That was good.
You're so welcome.
That was good. Okay, let me take this off for one ring. Okay, so that was a good one, y'all. So I make sure y'all follow that, and make sure y'all follow her for that tip for real, because that was good. Okay, chapter 2. So tax preparation as a profession. We actually I think that was chapter 3. 1 second. One second. Yep. So chapter 3, we'll go to the ethical responsibilities because I did want to do that its own the tax preparation as a profession. I want us to do that in its own day, and that's tomorrow. So let's go through with the circular 230 and ethics. So with circular 230, that is a set of guidelines that's established by the IRS that lets you know how you should act or how you should move as a taxpayer. Circular 230 is very important. If you have not read it, if you have not even looked at it before, y'all, please do so. Because Circular 230, it lets you know pretty much any situation where you feel like, what should I do or how should I handle this? If you go to Circular 230 and look at the index and kind of see where it falls under. So for an example, if you have a question about fees, you can go and look at the topics about these and go to each one of them. And I can almost guarantee you, you should probably have a section in there that'll tell you how you should handle it. And there are also different things in there, and we go through a couple of them in just a second, that you should like know as an everyday practice, because certain things prepare, all it takes is one taxpayer to call on you and say, hey, she didn't do this or she didn't do that, and now your whole business is at jeopardy. And it may be because, number one, you just didn't know. There are several things that, first of all, I don't want to jump too far. So who is covered? So anybody that basically does taxes for a fee, whether you are an attorney, a CPA, a EA, even if you just have a P10. So that's pretty much all of us. If we have an active P10, we are governed by Circular 230. So any way that you move, any which way that you shake, the way that you handle your taxpayers should all fall within these guidelines, because you do not want to end up where you try to get your P10 and you can't. This actually happened to, unfortunately, a partner of mine, and we actually found out that her P10 ended up getting revoked and she's not able to do taxes anymore because of a situation. And it all boils down to the way that she was giving her clients their tax returns. And I was like, are you serious? And this actually happened over the summer. So I honestly don't know what she did, honestly, like what she's doing now, I'll say, about doing taxes, because she didn't have the active P10. She's not going to be able to get one for this season. And what happened was she was charging them for the copy, okay, the very first copy. And honestly, I didn't know, like, she had her own EFIN, so like we don't monitor the EFIN holders like that unless they ask. But she was charging them for the return. So the very first return, the one that's supposed to be free, she was charging every last one of her clients $50. And I don't really think, like, they weren't paying it as far as like a check or anything or a debit card. It was being put into the bank product. So I don't know if that's exactly what, I still don't know, but yeah, that's what happened. So she can't even get a P10 behind it. And that's so unfortunate. But if reading by Circular 230, or she had a listen, that would definitely be something that she would have known to not do, because we definitely went over everything Circular 230. Now, who is covered? Like I said, that's anybody with a P10. So of course you are covered. Now, some of the key provisions, how did they know she was charging them for that? So it was inside of, you know how like in the software you can put a,
y'all getting on my nerves. I don't want to feed y'all.
Oh Lord, wait a minute. Somebody off mute, y'all. Wait a minute. Somebody got their babies, y'all, off mute. Okay, so how did they know she was charging them for that? So what happened was, sometimes you can itemize like your billing, or you can charge your clients for something. For example, you could do a form based, or you can do it like by the hour. So that's how she was charging them. So when it printed out in the software, it'll show that she was charging them for the return. Now, honestly, do I think she was charging them for the return? I honestly don't think so. I believe that was just for fee's sake, but it's on there. And that is something that, unfortunately she couldn't refute because it was there. So yeah, that was not a good situation. But that was the very first tax return. So when she gave it to him, that was $50. She was charging everybody $50. So of course we can't charge them for that very first copy. Now, here's a couple of key provisions. So a practitioner cannot know about the knowledge of a client submission. So that's a big one. Basically, what that states is that we cannot knowingly file a return knowing that the client has omitted a W-2. So an example of that is how people say, well, I'm not gonna file this W-2, I'll catch it next year. That is knowingly filing, knowing that they have omitted some type of document. So we cannot do that. And that, I don't know where people start that stuff from, but I have people every year telling me this type of stuff, okay? Like telling me, yeah, I'm not gonna file it. I'll wait till next year, or if that W-2 send me over, don't file it this year, I'll put it on my next year's return. That's the quickest way to get off my roster, for real, because like I'm not gonna do that, honestly, for you. I'm sorry. So I don't know where the misconception come from, but a lot of people feel like you can file 2017 tax return on a 2020 tax return. I don't know where they got off on that, but I hate they started it. So we cannot knowingly do that, and we must also, advise them on the proper consequences. So if somebody comes to you trying to do that, or any other situation where they may be knowingly omitting something, a big one is going to be those 1099Ks this year. The businesses, they don't want to. If you know that they are knowingly omitting something and not putting it on their tax return, then you are held liable as well. So that's why, like, when you're talking to your clients, make sure that you use proper verbiage with them. Make sure that you are letting them know, hey, this, I'm doing this, but I'm not doing this. Or no, you cannot do that. Be very stern with them. For the people that are brand new, you have kind of like a better advantage over some of the people that may have been in the industry for a while, because you can set your groundwork and your rules right now. And if you stand on them, you don't have to worry about trying to, get it straight down the line. So for example, in the beginning, when I first started doing taxes, I was just, I'm not ashamed to say it, I was just doing any and everything on these returns, for real. So like, that was the way I was taught, and it ended me with a fine. Like, that's all it got me, was a fine. And most of my clients, the ones that, started out with me, they didn't end with me. So, it didn't turn out good. It was no good way to even do that anyway. So, you have to make sure that you are not knowingly omitting something off of those tax returns. Now, the next thing is the diligence as to accuracy. So you must exercise due diligence. That's basically what that says, is that when you are sending these returns and when you're preparing these returns, that you are doing them ethically, and everything that's on there is you have done your due diligence on. Now, we have a whole chapter, a whole section on due diligence, so I won't go too deep into that on today, but you just have to make sure that any of the credits that they're claiming, that they actually can. And like I said, we're going to a whole section on due diligence, so I won't go too deep in it today. But this is something that it's a skill that you have to learn. And the biggest thing is just to make sure that you are stern in it, and that whatever you say goes. So what Nene Leak said, I said what I said, like, that's serious, and you have to stand on it, because you have to protect your business, your brand, your livelihood. It's all about how you start and what your policies are, depending on how long you will be in this industry. Because the way people was able to get away with stuff back then, the technology is so advanced now, it may seem like you may be getting away with it, or they might fund a return, but chances are down the line, it's gonna catch up. Like, that is just the God honest truth. So I would rather you guys just do it right the first time. Do your due diligence, get you some real good quality clients. Not everybody's gonna want the hookup. Not everybody's gonna want you to, compromise your ethics on the tax return. So those are not the type of clients that you want. You want the good ones, and the good ones that really care about their taxes, that really care about you as a professional, because if they cared about you at any rate, they wouldn't even ask you to do those types of things. Okay. So those type of clients, is way more of them than it is the shady ones. Okay. Now, fees is you cannot charge an unconscionable fee. So basically what that means is that you cannot charge somebody outrageously. It has to make sense. Like, for example, just a one W-2 return should not be so complex or thousands of dollars. Like, I know that may seem far-fetched, but it has definitely been proven over and over again. Y'all see it. I'm pretty sure y'all been seeing it on social media, because I have, people posting how much they prepare to charge them, even though they paid it, even though, yeah, they probably, whatever the situation was behind it, that's still not, in alignment with Circular 230. And we also cannot charge them a contingency fee. So if their refund, let's just say, if their refund is $5,000, then you're gonna charge them $500. Or if their refund is $6,000, you're gonna charge them a fee. You cannot charge them a fee based upon what their refund is going to be. So that's why inside of your software for partners, it is an option for you to charge based upon those forms. Now, for EFIN holders, you have more flexibility with your pricing per se. Like with setting up your pricing, you can go in and charge per form, but with PTN holders, there is a set price inside of the software. So whatever you charge, whatever your client has, whatever type of income they have, deductions they put on there, all of that situation is going to calculate a price. Now, you can determine what you're going to charge them all day long, like you have complete control over that, but what's being calculated is going to be based upon a fee model, and that fee model is the same among all of the offices that has a shared EFIN, okay? So you can charge what you want to charge. You can choose to go over that. You can choose to go under that, but just make sure that most of the time you're gonna go under, because it's set for every schedule, every form, every dependent. So it may charge, you may see it and be like, golly, this thing trying to charge $1,500, but it's set to where everybody is going to get charged the same thing, but you can choose to discount it if you want to. Okay, so that's just to make sure that we're ethical in our pricing and it can be justified. All right. Question about fees. Yes, ma'am. You can go ahead and drop it in the chat, or you can ask. Do you charge?
So I'll ask. So there was a person doing taxes last year, and she charged $50 to run the numbers. Is that considered a unconscionable fee as well? So what she did was, you pay her $50, she'll submit your W-2, your forms in the system, and then she'll let you know how much you're going to get back. And then the person, I guess, determines like, hey, okay, I'm cool with this refund amount, or I'm gonna shop elsewhere. Can you charge like that?
Now, to be honest, I don't think there's nothing wrong with charging like a consultation fee or a because that's what I'm assuming that's basically what it is. I honestly don't know if there's no like a red tape between them, or if there's like a gray area, but I would think that would be sort of like a consultation fee. Now what gets me is if you're putting the information into the software, like that's a difference. So I don't know. That's
Okay.
if I don't know, I would definitely tell you I don't know. And that may, I'm gonna have to X in the group, and I'll look in the Circular 230 as well, because it's one thing to do a consultation fee to say, hey, I need $50 if you want to speak with me, but to run numbers,
yeah, it just didn't, like, even then I was like, I don't think you can do that. But it's nothing that I would do, but I was just curious if that's something that would be considered an unconscionable fee, because what am I paying for?
Right. And it seems as if maybe she's charging for a quote. Maybe that's what she's doing. And the question was, she said, does she apply it to the tax prep fee if they decide to file with them? Or is she like charging them another fee? I ain't never seen that before.
Yeah, I don't know the specifics. I just know, So it was just a question.
Okay, that's got my doggone wheel spinning now, because I'm like, I never heard of that before. I've seen people charge for like a consultation or something, but these people get creative every year, for real. So another key provision of Circular 230 is the return of the client records. So there's a lot of information there. Of course, I'm not going to read it all verbatim. She might be trying to secure some more money. I hear that. Cause people be definitely wasting your time. Like I would definitely say that. And that's something that you just have to be prepared for, because sometimes people will, there's no way to really give nobody a quote or an actual estimate unless you put their figures into the software. So I get that. Now, of course, sometimes that calculator, even in the software, it's off sometimes. It don't really get it down to the dollar. So that's why I tell my people, like, I don't really give out quotes or estimates. I just tell them like round about how much, and the figures sometimes be so broad to the point where either they'll tell me, no, don't worry about it, or yeah, just go ahead and do it. But I tend to kind of tell them in the beginning that when you start with me, you filing your taxes. Like that's just it, because and that kind of cut out a lot of that. Because some people think that you'll definitely just give them a quote or you'll give them a estimate, and then that's the process. So I just had to let them know right up front, it's in big bold letters that you are filing your taxes. If you don't want to file your taxes, please go back. If you're not sure if you want to file with us, please go back, because once you go cross this line, you got to stay there for real, because people will waste your time for real. That's what it sounds like, because so many people like to shop around. Yes, they do. If you want to invest money in a quote, chances are you will stay and file. Yes, that is true too. I definitely would just kind of, if you're gonna charge for, like, let's just say a consultation or charging for a quote, you just need to outline that, and sort of like how these stylists do, just let you know like, hey, this is gonna be applied towards your tax prep fee, or just let them know like, hey, this is for the consultation only, or this is for the estimate or the quote only. But again, like I said, I don't know. I'm gonna have to read through the Circular 230 just to see if we can even do that. But I don't think I ever saw anything about that. That's a good topic. Let me put this on here so I can just
Really quickly, Raven, I've seen
Go ahead.
that. I've seen that. I've seen people charge a consultation fee. I don't necessarily know if they do a quote, but they will definitely tell them that this will go to your, that's why I was asking the question, this will go to your tax prep fee. Should you file with them? Now, I don't know what happens. I'm assuming that, they forfeit if they decide not to move forward with it, but most people probably just move forward with it. So I've seen that. I've seen several people do that. People are not doing any type of free quotes, because I was doing like free quotes or whatever, but people are like, I'm not doing that. People wasting my time. I'm charging you, and then that's going to go towards your tax prep fee.
Gotcha. Okay. It makes sense. It makes sense for real. And I kind of understand that. I do for real from this standpoint, because sure, I done had a lot of people waste my time for real. Like they just go try to see who give them the biggest quote. And I'm gonna tell y'all something about these tax groups too. And I hate to get off topic, but this is definitely needs to be known. Make sure you start joining some of these not the tax preparer groups, but start joining some of these taxpayer groups, like where's my refund? I got my refund, all these different groups, because there are literally people out here teaching folks how to like bypass their taxpayer, or how to get multiple advances from different banks. Please make sure that y'all watching them groups and just, follow along on the latest scams, because that's really all they are. And make sure that you're protecting yourself in your office, so that you can have those like in your engagement letter. You can tell them like in the event, that maybe the return is not accepted and they got to advance or something. I don't know. Maybe you'll just watch it. That's all I'm saying, because it's a lot of people who are professional scammers. It's just a guy on the shoe. Like they go from tax office to tax office getting those pre-act advances. So you got to make sure that you're just talking to them and letting them know the implications of doing so. Because if you have a lot of for EFIN holders, if you have a lot of loss for your pre-act, they can stop doing bank products with you all together. So if you have your own EFIN and you have a lot of loss for the pre-act, they tend to not really worry about the in-season advances, because they know eventually, hey, if this return funds out, we'll get our money back. But for the pre-act advances, if you got a lot of people that you have given advances to during the preseason, and those returns are not accepted by the IRS, they're more than likely the bank is gonna not do business with you anymore. If you have over like 5% loss, I think it's actually less than that. They'll stop doing business with you, and you don't want to do that over some preseason advances, seriously. So just try to and what I do know is that the Refund Advantage or TPG, they will reach out to you and ask you on a client by client basis, what happened with this one, what happened with that one. So if it's a situation where you know this client went somewhere else or their return got accepted somewhere else, you can definitely report them, like seriously, because it's either gonna be you or them, and you would rather that not be on you than you'd rather be on them than it be on you. So when people ask you for a price, what do you tell them? Do you have a set fee for specific schedules? So dealing with the fee, like I said, I do a set fee schedule for every type of situation. So for example, just regular clients with no businesses, my returns start at anywhere from free, because I file free for single dads with no dependents and students. So it goes anywhere from free to like $300, like on the starting price. But for businesses, it's at minimum $500. Like if you got a Schedule C, it's at minimum $500. So I pretty much start them out there. I don't really get into the specifics, like exactly how much it's gonna cost, because I don't know until I look at their tax situation. And me personally, like a lot of the when for the partners that's using my software, the fee that you guys see when it calculates into the software, that's mostly what I'm charging, because it's gonna be for every form of the schedules and everything the more complex their return is, the bigger their return gets by the different schedules and all of that. That's more than likely the fee that I'm gonna charge them. Okay, and the way I determine my pricing, some people might say it's a little steep. I get that, but I provide a lot of more stuff for my clients as well. You know what I'm saying? Especially for my business clients. Those are the ones that, end up getting charged $800, $900, $1,200. That's just the God of the truth, but that's just my price. I don't really do a lot of simple W-2 returns. I don't really do a lot of those. My clients mostly are business owners or, like that. So that's what mostly they are. Now I do a lot of free returns. The guys, the students, I do a lot of those, but I don't do a whole lot of just regular W-2 returns. So that's my pricing, but it may not work for everybody. But I have seen some people do like a set schedule. So they'll say, hey, if you're head of household with this is what you charge, or this is what my prices are. If you're just filing a Schedule C, this is what my prices are. But or you can charge by the hour. Some people do it by the hour. You can ask the question about the fees. You want to unmute the mic and ask it, or?
Yeah. So quick question. Let's because we're talking about, it's unethical to charge too much money for a return. So let's say I did a simple return, but I really did 4 years, but I'm charging out for one. I'm charging for all 4 years on one tax return. So let's say I charge $400 per return, and they see $1,600. How would you go about that to make it look?
As long as you have a justification for it, it's perfectly fine. So if you can show like, hey, I'm doing 4 years worth of returns, it's $400 per return, this is why the price is this much, that's fine. But if you have a return, let's just say it's the same type of situation, a regular W-2 return that you're filing for, and you don't have 4 years worth of tax returns, but the fee is $1,600, let's just say that. So how can you justify that? Like, that's the type of thing that they're going to ask you, especially the bank, because most of the banks have caps that we can charge. And even if you don't hit that cap, but if you're getting close to it, sometimes they'll ping us for the people that don't have their EFINs, they'll call and ask like, hey, why was this one? Now, certain banks do that. Refund Advantage does it sometimes. Now, certain banks don't have limits. TPG don't have limits. If I'm not mistaken, Republic limit is like 3,000. But the other ones like Refund Advantage, Refundo, they have limits, and the most is like $1,500 for Refund Advantage, unless it's a situation like that and they'll approve it like as a one-time thing on a case-by-case basis. But for the most part, those banks have limits. Now, of course, if you're gonna do it as a non-bank product, like if you're not gonna do it with the banks, then you can charge them what you want to charge them. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying like that you can charge them unconsciously, but I'm just saying like you don't have to worry about the fee limits. So if you want to charge somebody for 4 years worth of tax returns, so for example, if this is a business owner, so this was an actual situation of mine. So if I have a business owner that comes to me and my fee would have been $1,200, but we're doing it for 3 years, that's $3,600. So of course I can't put that on a bank product, but I will be doing it on like, you know, maybe drafting his account or him paying the invoice or whatever that is. So the $3,600 is still there, but I will have to itemize it and show why I charged him this much for this return. Now, usually you have a little bit more flexibility when it's not a bank product, because of course, when you file tax year 2017, you can put it, you know, on its own invoice charging. 2018 on invoice charging. But when you're doing it on a bank product and you're having to do it all at one time, then you have to itemize that. The software can usually do an invoice, but it's not gonna combine all 3 or 4 years. So usually in those cases, what I do is I'll make my own invoice and put it inside of the software, and inside of the software and inside of that file, and I'll also have it for the record, and I'll send it to that client as well. So and it'll be in my prepared notes as well. So it'll be all over the return, and it'll be in there knowing why I charged them this much, especially when we print it out and we see it on the bank report. Republic Max is 15. Golly, they really be true. Well, I get it. I do. I really do. But when you have to double down on somebody, that's where, you know, things get kind of tough, because it's like, golly. But TPG, the only one that don't have maxes. They don't have max. Now, when it comes down to returning your client records, that's another key provision of Circular 230, because you have to retain copies, but you also have to return the copies of the client return. You have to give them a copy if they request it, and if they don't file with you, you have to return those documents to them as well. So I know sometimes we get mad, especially if a person, let's say they run out on paying their tax per fees. You transmitted the return and they didn't pay you, and it's like, hey, I'm not gonna give you these documents unless you give me some money. Now, it's kind of a different thing when it comes down to it, because you do have to give them one free copy, regardless if they pay you or not. If their return gets transmitted, you have to give them that one free copy. So that's good. But anytime after that, you can charge them. Now, for a person that is not filing with you, then you have to return them their records. Like you can't hold their stuff sabotage. You can't hold it hostage. You can't say, look, you ain't following with me. I'm not going to give it back to you. These are my records. No, you can't do that. But you definitely have to return it to them. And if they do not file with you, and if they ask you for the documents, then you can give it. You have to give it to them. You can charge them, but you have to give it to them. All right. Now, next step is understanding the 1040. So that's what we're going to be going over, is understanding this first page of this 1040. So does anybody have any questions? First off, any questions on anything regarding Circular 230, anything about taxes and withholding? Do y'all have any questions before we move on? Okay, so the first step to our 1040, this is the individual tax return. Now, the TCJA, was in 2018. This kind of changed how that 1040 and even the schedules look. So it went from combining most of the forms and the schedules together. Now, Form 1040A and 1040EZ are no longer available for use. So anytime those are retired forms, anytime you see that, you don't need to worry about it, because we're not going to be even dealing with that moving forward. So the only forms that you have is going to be your 1040, the regular one, or your 1040 SR, and those are for the seniors. Okay. Now, this is used to file the tax return. This 1040 is for individuals. Anybody, like a person, anything that's not a business entity, they're going to file Form 1040, and pretty much all of us have to do it. Now, it's only 2 pages long. That's the face of it. but it has a lot of schedules and other additional forms that is attached to it. Okay, so that's what makes up the full tax return is the 1040 and its schedules and all of the different pages. So depending on what type of income or what type of deduction or credit that your client is claiming, there may be a form or there may be another page that has to be attached or another schedule that has to be attached. So this is how you can end up with a tax return that's 10 pages, roughly 10 pages long, or one that's 100 pages long, depending on what type of tax situation they have, what type of deductions they're going to be using, what type of adjustments to their income they're going to be using, and any credits they're going to be claiming, okay? So the forms and the schedules, are based on the taxpayer's income and the expenses during the year. So here's a brief breakdown of all of the schedules. Now on tomorrow, we're gonna go through each one of these schedules really quickly and kind of explain them in depth. But for the sake of the class today, we're gonna go over like exactly what each of them means. So on the schedule A, this is to report itemized deductions. Now, honestly, for our class on next week, we're gonna do the schedule A and we'll also do the schedule C on our more advanced topics. So just bear with me because we're gonna go over all this stuff, but those are a little bit more advanced, and we do have some very, very newbies that's not have any experience at all. So we're starting from the beginning. Now, schedule B, this is gonna be your interest and dividend. Of course, your schedule C is for business income. So this is any business, whether you're doing it as a sole proprietor with just your EIN number, DBA, a single member LLC, or whether you're just doing it as a person that's let's just say I got a business that's selling digital products on Etsy. That's considered to be a business, even if you don't have an EIN number. That's still considered to be a business. And most of us are going to be receiving a 1099K this upcoming year. That's pretty much one of the biggest tax changes that we have this year. Besides everything going back to pre-COVID, that's like one of the biggest changes. So there will be a lot of angry people. I already can see it happening because a lot of these people have honestly been going under the radar for a lot of years. Even with having under 20K worth of income, they probably made like $17,000 worth of money, and they have not been following out of the chute because it's not been required. So now that any money that they made on behalf of like a business, anything over $600 will be reported. And those earnings are going to be reported on this form, Schedule C. So anytime you got a 1099K, a 1099 NEC, or in some cases 1099 MISC, though the money that's been made on all of those forms are going to automatically report on this Schedule C. So even if they tell you, well, I don't own no business, I just sold something on Etsy, or I just sold something on the marketplace, or well, I just did it on Cash App. Now, the only stipulation with Cash App is it must be a business Cash App. It must be a business PayPal. So if they're acting like just, if their Cash App don't have the little building sign beside it, then they're not gonna get no 1099K. So if they're doing it like on a personal standpoint, they don't have to worry about that. But if they got a business PayPal, or for the people that's doing like Shopify, Wix, all of this stuff, that's straight business. So they're gonna be getting the 1099K. I would advise y'all to tell y'all clients right now to go ahead and start updating their addresses, or make sure that they can access all of their, like if they start on a website, if they any type of like PayPal or anything like that they've been taking money on and they made over $600, make sure that they are going to be able to access those forms, because if they don't have it on their tax return, it's too early to tell if it'll be delayed. But I could just pretty much guess that even if they get their taxes, if they probably end up having to come back and amend it to add it, because that money is on the tax return, and if it's not on there, of course they'll have to go back and amend it to add it. Now, the other schedules, Schedule D, those are capital gains and losses. Schedule E is for real estate. Schedule FE is the amount is going to be a tax. Anytime you have a Schedule C and they have any type of tax as a result of it, then you're going to have a Schedule SE. So that's going to be where our beautiful software does the work for us, and it'll let us know how much taxes they were supposed to have paid out of their self-employment income. Now, this is why a lot of self-employed people, they don't pay estimated taxes, like most of them don't, just to be honest. So this is why a lot of their refunds, if they probably would have been, let's say 7, 8K on the example, but they're probably only going to be 5K, because what happens is the government is going to take those taxes out of the credits that they earn. So if they got earned income credit or all of this is where you will see that the government took out the, let's say, $1,000 worth of taxes that they should have paid. So this is why I tell a lot of my clients, especially the people I know that can afford it, go ahead and start making those estimated payments, okay? Because if you know you want a big refund at the beginning of the year, go ahead and send them people some money every quarter and be done with it. That way, you'll know, like, you can go ahead and get that back. It's just like you get putting money into on your tax, like withholding, doing it with a W-4 form when you're getting the money taken out of your job. But except for now, you're self-employed, so you have to do this on your own. The couple of other schedules are K1. Oh, excuse me. So this is a business tax form, and you might see somebody with a K1. So if they own a business, like a partnership where it's more than one person owning a business, they may get a K1. If they own another type of corporation, like an S Corp or something, then they may get a K1 too. So if you see them with this form, then it's sort of like a W-2 before business. So it's most, with us, it's just informational. We didn't have to actually prepare the K1, but if you got somebody that's bringing you a K1, then it's just like a W-2. You're going to input the information in, and it's going to tell them how much taxes they owe, if any did not get withheld. Now, the 8821 is another schedule, and this is the additional child tax credit. So this is going to be one of the ones that's going to calculate based upon what you put into the software for how if they qualify. So that is why once we go through the for the partners, once we go through and I teach y'all how to use the software, you'll see that at the end it's going to ask you certain questions. Did this child stay with the taxpayer for more than 12 months? Do you certify this? Do you certify that? And based on how you answer those questions, it is going to calculate how much credit, or if any, that this taxpayer qualifies for. Now, the rest of the schedules, these are the ones that are attached to the back of the 1040. So after the 1040 comes the Schedule 1, which is the additional income and adjustments to income. Schedule 2, which is taxes and other taxes, and Schedule 3, which is the additional credits and the payments. So basically, though, that 1040 is a sum of everything that's at the back of that tax return. So it basically breaks down and summarizes everything. And same thing for schedules 1 through 3. So based upon all of the adjustments to income and the additional income, it'll be listed right there. With the taxes and the other taxes, it'll be listed right there. So it's for easy reference. So they won't, the average person will have to flip through all them pages to see. Everything is basically that they need is going to be on those first 5 pages. Okay. Now, am I moving too fast for anybody? Now, this third party designee, this is at the bottom of, sort of like at the bottom of the front page of the 1040. This can be either a tax professional, or in most cases, your software would default it to be the tax professional. They'll set this as the third party designee. Now, sometimes the client may want to elect for somebody else to be the third party designee. So always kind of like ask them maybe on like the intake form, or give them that option if they want to. So it allows for somebody other than the taxpayer to be able to talk to the IRS about limits and matters, okay? So the designee sometimes might get called by the IRS to answer questions during the processing of the return, And they may only perform certain actions, which is call the IRS to get information to the that's missing on the tax return. They can receive copies of the notices or transcripts upon request, and they can call about math errors, and they can respond about certain issues dealing with the preparation of the return. So it's not like they're like power of attorney or anything. They just get limited access. Now, most of the time, like I said, this is gonna be your software defaults that to you as the preparer. But there are certain instances where a taxpayer may want it to be somebody else. So for example, it was a situation this past tax season. One of my clients was actually not able to even make decisions for herself because she was like, I don't know what happened to her, but I think she had a stroke or something. But her mom was actually the person that was making all the decisions. So I made her the third party designee. So that was exactly what was going on. It was so sad, but she recovered from that though. I'm glad for that. But that's third party designee. If you don't have to do that, like if they don't request that, then you could just keep going, and the software is going to automatically default that to you. Now I'm going to stop right here. We're actually at the 8:30 mark, so I'm going to stop right here before we move on. This is actually the information for tomorrow. So does anybody have any questions based upon what we went over today? Tomorrow we're going to meet at the same time at 7 p.m. Now, for anybody, if you guys have any issues getting on the e-course, now is the time I can kind of walk you through that. I'll stick around for a few more questions. So yeah, let me log on real quick, and I'll let y'all know how to access the ebook. So I don't know if you all were on here when I got on at the beginning, but I gave in the chat, if you scroll up, it's a link to you for you to be able to log in to the e-course. So I'm about to show you exactly where it is now. 1 second. Go to the student view. Okay. So this is inside the e-course. If you scroll all the way down to in the first module, it's right here at the bottom. So you'll see the 2022-2023 tax prep masterclass. This is the PDF. Now this PDF is the lock. This is the ebook. It's locked. So the only thing that you can do is print it. You won't be able to copy and paste anything from it, but you can definitely print it out. So the only thing I ask is that you guys please do not share this outside of the.
Hey, Raven.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Stop recording. Do you want this on your recording?